Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Eric, lead vocalist of King Zebra, to the program today. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
You guys just put out your latest single the other day called Hot Cop Lady. That is
Hot
a
cop
kick-ass
lady.
tune.
Yeah.
Kick-ass tune.
Isn't it
Kind
driving? It's driving as hell, man. I love it.
Well, you talk about driving. I'm glad I wasn't driving the first time I heard it. It took me back to like the first time I heard Judas Priest Turbo Lover,
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Don't get me started with Priest. I love Priest.
To me, that tune had a great the instrumental and everything in it, the way the guitar started off, and then with the solos, it was sort of a Foghat meets Judas Priest sort of vibe for me.
Dude, you know Foghat?
I know Foghat.
They don't know
Foghat
Foghat
live.
over here, man. I got to actually sing a song that was written for us by the guys from Foghat back in the day, and super cool band. But here, if you mention Foghat, they don't even know it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm over here in Vermont, and I found out if you look on the back of Foghat Live, it said something about mix and mastered at Sun Treader Studios in Sharon, Vermont.
Yeah.
And Sharon, Vermont is this little one-lane town.
Right.
And I've read some of the backstory on it, and it's pretty amazing stuff. They came up here, and part of Slow Ride was recorded at this studio up there, and then they mixed and mastered Foghat Live, which is one of the greatest live albums of all time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But a lot of those, a lot of breakthrough stuff was done outside of the, I mean, even Queen, they went out to a very rural location to work, and to develop stuff. It's always kind of like that. Even Woodstock, I think Woodstock was an area where a lot of people hung out, and then they just decided to do the festival there,
Right. Yeah. The band was there and in that area, general area and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob Dylan and all those guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but Foghat, there's a lot of bands that were like really, I don't know, I would say influential, important bands, or you could even say like Aerosmith work before Permanent Vacation. You know what I mean?
I
This
hear you.
kind of stuff was unknown to like a lot of the rock fans here who came in with like, say, Priest, Scorpions, Bon Jovi, or like when they got into metal with Crew. I don't even think Motley Crue is out front then. But they had the European bands, but I was always amazed at like, oh my God, you guys had never heard of that,
Yeah.
And I don't know, it works the same way here too, because like I've heard bands here that have been just totally amazing, and we never knew them in the States.
Right. I was going to ask that, bands like Budgie, Diamond Head, stuff like that had a sort of underground here are probably huge over there.
There's you can't say what it is, but there's some kind of filter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but it could also be something similar to like that of like, say, when something's released on DVD or back in the day, something was released, it had two different codecs or something, so it could be released in different territory. Who knows? I don't know. But I was always amazed at that, and then I would be like, oh my God, you guys don't know this song, Slow Ride. or better still, remember Mountain?
Yeah.
Mississippi Queen.
Yeah.
They don't know Mississippi Queen.
Right. Yeah.
It's weird. It's like, oh my God, really? I mean, but then all of a sudden you kind of feel like you got a leg up because you got a slightly more like, for example, whose song is "Giving the Dog a Bone"? Isn't that Aerosmith, Toys and
AC/DC. AC/DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like one of them songs, like, there's certain albums that everybody, they know all the songs, and then all of a sudden they don't know one or two or three different records from different bands. And with like with AC/DC, I think it's different, because I think the older records are all up there. But today I was even thinking about like all the songs off all the earlier, like, say, for example, Aerosmith.
Yeah.
People, they don't even know that. They only know from, like, say, Permanent Vacation or Pump forwards.
I
you know?
agree. And it's funny you say that. I was just talking to a guy at work the other day. We had the music on there and they were playing Angel, which is the big ballad off of Permanent Vacation. He's
Right.
like, man, this is one of the greatest, one of their greatest songs, all this stuff. And I'm like, it's
What about Game
great.
On?
Yeah, it's great, but let's talk Lord of the Thighs. And he's like, what's that one? I'm like,
Yeah.
you got to go back and listen to the early stuff, pal.
Train kept a rolling, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Adam's Apple, and all that stuff,
And my but I think they kind of know it, but my favorite song of all time, Sweet Emotion.
Yeah, yeah.
Aerosmith.
Can't go wrong with that one.
I got a chance to see the Vampires, and they put that into their set, Sweet Emotion. So I was I was like, all of a sudden, I mean, look at me, I got gray hair. I was all of a sudden like a teenager listening to Sweet Emotion. They nailed it like really hard. It was really good.
Oh, very, very cool.
But can you that whole beginning with the what do you call it, a vibra slap?
Yeah, yeah.
They did the whole thing. It was really cool, man.
Very cool.
Anyway,
how's my analogy though for Hot Cop Lady with Foghat meets Judas Priest?
Yeah, it's like that. It was a real story. It really happened, and I'm in this band because the riffs these guys come up with, just I don't know, I hear it and I automatically start wanting to work on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it normally comes, they're Roman and Jerry, they normally are sending me something and I'm reacting to it. And this was like the first time I had a friend of mine, he's in the record business from Las Vegas. He's here visiting, and I pick him up, and we take him to the band, and we hang out. And I'm driving back to his bed and breakfast, and we get off the highway, and there was a real roadblock there. Here, when they stop you on the road, they block the whole road.
Wow.
And everybody gets checked. It's really weird. And so I got this. I was like, oh no. And we were out having dinner. So I wasn't sure if I was over or I was under, It doesn't matter. We're long hair musicians. You're paranoid anytime you get pulled over. So, here I am. I see the blockade. I start rolling down my window, and it turned out to be this like really like Charlie's Angel style, like police officer,
Nice.
He was just amazing. And I look over at my friend Dave, and I'm like, oh my God, is this really happening? And then it was a very how do you say, I didn't have to blow, no trouble, no nothing. Right. But I really enjoyed the experience, and she was like really cool, whatever. I said goodbye. And then I dropped off Dave. And as soon as I dropped Dave off at his bed and breakfast, I got on my phone and I wrote to Roman. I said, hey, Roman, I need a riff for this title, Hot Cop Lady. Right?
Oh, that's great.
But I didn't say hot cop lady first. I first said hot lady cop. Yeah. Right? I said, look, I just got pulled over. It was really cool, but I need a riff. I need something that really, goes with this, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, what? He goes, okay. Well, let me think about it. And then he came to me with the riff, but he said, you know what though? What if we switch the chorus around and call it Hot Cop Lady instead of Hot Lady Cop, And believe it or not, just switching those words around, the chorus went from being kind of like, okay, that's a nice song, Eric, to all of a sudden, like the first time we played it live, everybody started singing by the time the second chorus came around.
That's awesome.
Just by switching like a couple of little words in there. But that was a song that was kind of born the other way around. I said, come on, give me a riff for this theme. Normally it's like they give me riffs and I react to how it makes me feel or what's going on at the time,
Right.
And okay, I mean most songs start like that, so it's very rare that you can do it the other way around. Yeah, but that's one of them.
I gotta ask, which one of the angels was she most like, Farrah, Jacqueline, or Kate?
Farrah Fawcett, man.
Really? Oh man, that would have been awesome. Awesome.
Well, you can, it's all in my head, not hers.
Yeah, exactly. Now this followed up Wall of Confusion, which you guys did with Guernica from Thundermother.
Yeah, what a
that girl can bring it, can't she?
I gotta tell you, I'm lucky in the sense that I've stood next to a lot of great singers, and I've, felt their vibe and their whole thing. And there's something about like super great singers when you're standing next to them and they're singing, you just say that's what makes them great. I didn't know Thundermother so well. The band was big fans. They're big fans of the whole Swedish scene.
Yeah.
And I didn't know them that well. I was like, oh wow, that's a cool band. I said, oh, they're all chicks. Oh, so that's really cool. They're serious.
Yeah.
And then we get this guy Oscar Nielsen, who's a really good producer up there in Sweden, and we get him to do the album. And then he's going through the demos, and he said, well, what if we got somebody from Thundermother to come, and because he knew them, the
Yeah.
band was just begeistert. I mean, like begeistert, that's a German word. Sorry. they were just blown away by that, and this girl, she liked the song, okay, which it starts there, right? She's got to like the song.
Yeah.
And she liked the song, and they had just gotten a leg of their tour was canceled. It was the first lockdown, I think. Yeah, it was September.
Yeah.
And no, it wasn't the first lockdown, but it was one of them.
Right.
But we were able to travel to Sweden, and we got up there, and she took a train for 3.5 hours to come to the studio, which I could not believe. And it just like a super rock and roll thing to do. She liked the song, she liked the idea of the band. She thought like, okay, well, let's make friends with the Swiss guys, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, who knows? But she came down there and she warmed up, sweet as can be, but cool. And then she started opening her mouth, and I was just like, wow, I'm in the presence of greatness, man. This is whoa. I haven't been blown away like that by somebody. Well, I have a friend of mine, actually, a guy named Mark Storaci. He sings for Crocus.
Right.
He's like that. When he does his thing, you just say to yourself, oh my God, I'm standing, like, you know what I mean? It's like weird. It's like kind of going to a museum and looking at it, when you're really close to, it's like being really close to real art.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so she laid her stuff on there. Everybody liked it. The song itself is a very important song, because and most of the album was written during the lockdowns, and it's all the whole survivor concept is we're not going to come out of this victims. We're going to come out of this survivors and strong, and the music's going to mean more than ever. But,
I was fortunate enough to get to interview her, I think, when the Thundermother album first came out. And then I got to talk to Philippa when they re-released and did the double album and everything. And those two girls were a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. And they're like, they're no
so
joke,
talented. Yeah.
They're no joke. And they're out there doing tons of shows as much as they can. I mean, everybody got locked down, but as soon as it opened up, they went right back out there.
Right.
Constantly active, hard workers. And like I said, for this girl to come and do that for us, I thought it was like that was really a super good community reach out.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be doing shows here with them in Switzerland. We got one show with them in October at a very cool venue here called Z7. And it's going to be a total privilege to open up for them. And I hope she comes and does the song with me on stage. That would be super cool too.
Yeah, that would be amazing. The crowd reaction will be really, really cool for that. Yeah. Album Survivors you're talking about comes out September 17th on Golden Robot, right?
Yeah. Crusader is it's a Golden Robot, Crusader Records. They're together.
Right. Love the cover art for that picture that's on there. I saw an image for it.
Me too. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't get it at first. I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot because Benny, our drummer, he coordinates most of the visual artwork and stuff, through different people and whoever's working on it. And he sent a bunch of stuff all together, like different concepts,
Yeah.
And I'm going through them, and I without being on a big screen and everything, I don't see so great, right?
Right.
So, you know, so here I am checking all this stuff out and I'm looking at it. And then I had to do a double take. Then I realized, oh my God, these people are sitting in a drive-in watching a tornado come at them. And then it really, because the artist knew exactly what the concept of the album was, you know,
Right.
they knew exactly all the, you know, I even wrote up a synopsis and everything of all that. So they had that in their mind. And then I got deeper into it and I was like, oh my God, they nailed it. That's exactly right. We're all sitting here comfortable while this storm is coming at us, this
Yeah.
pandemic thing, you know, and we're the survivors, you know, we're gonna like slowly either back our car out of there and drive the other direction, or you know, like,
Yeah.
and but yeah, I don't know, but when I look at it, that's that I equate it to the feelings that we were having, and I think the artist really nailed it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you guys spent 3 weeks, was it in Gothenburg doing the album?
Doing most of the heavy tracking,
Okay.
drums, guitars, bass, you know, we did like a lot of the heavy tracking. I had to redo 7 vocal tracks back here in Switzerland.
Okay.
Because I did I came in there like, I don't know, swinging with big guns, and after like, I don't know, 2 days my voice was not up to snuff. So we got the whole album done, but there was just like, I don't know, so there was parts done here in Switzerland. All the pre-production was done here in Switzerland, but the 3 weeks was concentrated on heavy tracking, and then at a later date, he did the mix on his own up there. So that was, but
Yeah.
we were 3 weeks together there, the band,
Right.
working during the
And
lockdowns and that stuff. But over there it was cool. Food was great.
you were working with Oscar Nielsen with production,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Did you work with him before, or?
No, I didn't know him. The band knew of him, and the band was also fans with some of the bands that he has produced,
Right.
like Hank from Hell and stuff. These are, you know, like I wasn't so familiar with it, but they turned me on to it, and I was like, whoa. And he had just finished building this great studio. He had some great stuff, you know, he had a great Neve desk and all this stuff like that. And he was really good working with our drummer, because our drummer comes from more of a kind of a punk background.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're doing like the hair metal thing, which is that really locked in Motley. You know, it's got to be
Yeah.
really like you said, Judas Priest. It's locked in. You know,
Right. Tight.
And so Benny's like a you know, gets wild, and Oscar is a great drummer as well. And so those two guys could super bond, you know, and really get the drums the way we needed them, you know, for this record.
Okay.
If you listen to some of the songs from the EP, the earlier stuff, it's kind of a little bit more wild, you know.
Yeah.
And now all the power is matched up with the riffs, and it's kind of more directed, and makes my job easier too, actually.
Cool.
Singing over that.
And then Thomas Johansson did the mastering at Panic Room.
Yes, but him I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I didn't meet him. I know his work, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it's a famous place, but that was Oscar, I guess, who organized that. But I was happy with the way the record sounds. I mean, I was actually I had my speakers up too loud. I had a student in our band room, and I was like saying, "Oh yeah, and this is what we just released." And I pushed play, and it was like, and it was like Hot Cop Lady, but like from the top, really loud. And I was like, but it really hung together, you know, like
sure.
You know, like good mastering is when shit's loud, it still hangs together. And I was like,
yeah.
At first, I was like, oh my God, it's still, and then I was like, wow, but listen to it. It was like, it's really powerful, you know. A lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people look to in this style of music, they look to a lot of these Swedish guys, you know, and especially a lot of these. There was a Swedish songwriter that what's his name, Martin, you know, that he wrote. You know, it's a. So I was impressed. I was impressed by the whole operation up there.
And I was reading while you guys were doing this, you sort of had fun. Nick from In Flames would stop by. You had beers with the guys from Avatar and all that.
Yeah, that was what was great about working with Oscar. He's part of that whole scene up there, you know, and there's like
Yeah.
a lot of cool guys from different bands. And they don't have much, you know, they don't have many places where they all go to have beers and burgers and stuff, you know.
Mm.
And Oscar just whenever the band had a break, they'd end up going to a place where all those cats were hanging out anyway, you know.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
it was kind of cool. Now I think we're gonna be, you know, doing some shows with some of them, and now that we're with this label, I think some of them are label mates as well, you know. So it's
Yeah,
cool, you know, like you meet socially, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh well, you know, we have a
yeah,
reason to be working together now.
that's cool. I found the story of you coming into the band a bit fascinating. I hope I've got my notes right here. You were at was it the Lemmy Bash and
Yeah,
Pat Weidler? Am I pronouncing his name right?
yeah. Well, here you'd call it Vidler, but
Okay.
you're saying it right with the
Yeah.
American.
And he sort of connected you and Roman. You know, he had a bit. You were looking for something to do. China had just sort of folded its tent, so to speak. You know, you'd done that History of China tour, and then he knew the guys in King Zebra were looking for somebody. He sort of matched you guys up.
Yeah, it was like, did you ever have like one of these moments where all of a sudden it dawns on you that like something big just changed? Like
Yeah.
I had a Claudio called me. We had just done this big tour with everybody, you know, the guys from Crocus, guys from Gotthard. Yeah, we, you know, everybody's ex-China, you know.
Yeah.
So we did this huge tour, sold out every night. It was really cool. And then some other things were coming in, and Claudio told me, he says, you know, maybe this is where we should leave it for now, you
Mm.
know. And I saw it, you know, maybe you're right, because it was like it was at the end, it's like everybody can't do that all the time because they all have these other bands to be in, you know.
Mm.
And so I had this conversation with Claudio, and then the next day um I'm in the backstage of the Lemmy Bash, because I was, you know, it's a charity event, and they
Mm.
asked me if I would do something. I said, sure, I would love to. I said, but can I do it acoustic? You know, I'd love to do some Motorhead acoustic, right? And they're like, yeah. And there was all these musicians, and I'm in the backstage, and everybody's hanging out, and it's a very cool vibe. But I'm hanging out with Patrick, who I've known for a few years, because he also was a journalist, and he did several interviews. He actually had like a web TV show thing for a while. Long story short, he's saying, "Well, what's going on? What's happening?" I said, "You're not gonna, you know, we're not gonna, you know, China's gonna be, we're gonna put it, you know, put it to bed for a while." And I said, "I'm out of a band, you know." And I said, "Oh my God, it's the first time in like, you know, I don't know how many years that I'm not in a rock and roll band." I said, "It feels kind of weird, you know."
Yeah.
Because I've always played solo shows like acoustically and things, you know, and
Sure.
that's one thing, but that's a different world than being in a rock band. And I've always been in a rock band of some sort.
Right.
And so I was just telling him, I was like, it's kind of weird, you know. And he goes, "Well, you know, let's see." He goes, "Look around you. There's a whole room full of musicians here." And and not just any musicians, like really
Yeah.
young, uh really some really like great upcoming musicians, people with like, maybe they didn't have like some people with names, some people with no names, but like really the quality of people that came to do this event was very impressive.
Mm.
So everybody there was kind of like, oh really, wow, okay. But you know me, I'm shy, I don't talk to anybody. So I do the thing, we do the event and everything like that, and then I get an email from him, and he says, "Hey, listen, I know these guys. They're called King Zebra. They're in Zurich. They're looking for somebody like you. Their music fits you totally. You know,
Mm. Yeah.
it's they're very 80s influenced in this, that, and the other thing." And I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. You know, but me also thinking like, oh wow, they must be young guys looking for a younger singer or whatever.
Yeah.
And long story short, they send me like like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, end, you know, of like
Right.
one song. And it's like, you know, about a minute and a half of the song. And as soon I was in my studio, I had a home studio, and I put it on. I said, okay, let me listen to King Zebra. And I put it on. And from the first like 5 seconds,
Yeah.
I immediately like got pulled into it. And I'm like, I don't know, after a while, I was kind of like just up out of my chair. And then I don't know, it just came to me like, oh, I have to write something for this, you know? Like
Yeah.
I didn't think of the band, the story, the thing. I was reacting to the music and the name of the band. That's all I had to go with.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what they looked like. I had no idea what they looked like. I didn't check them out on the internet. Patrick said, these guys fit to you and this music shows up. And I said, oh my God, you know?
Mm.
And that's more important than anything anyway.
Yeah.
And so I got to tell you, I think I honestly, within 20 minutes of first hearing the first song they sent me, I think I had most of it together, what I wanted to do on it. And
Yeah.
it ended up becoming a song called King Zebra.
Yeah.
And I made it about, without knowing who they were, but based on their music, what is a king zebra?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I made the song about like what it could be, you know,
Sure.
and who we are, and we're proud of being, you know. And anyway, I got into the whole thing, and then without even meeting them, I asked them. I said, "Hey, can you send me another one?" They loved it. I sent it to them. I recorded a quick vocal. They really liked it, and I asked them to send me another one. And I think we actually did this for 6 songs.
Wow.
Before we ever met in the room for the first time. We had 6 pretty much, you know, like you could see the nuts and bolts of a good song, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the first rehearsal I had with them felt like getting ready for a gig almost. It was it was so cool. And yeah, that was it. You know, it was like one of the things where, you know, you react when you're we talked about that earlier. Sometimes you lead with an idea, but mostly I react to what people send, you know, if you are play, you send me riffs, or I'm reacting and that, and this is a natural for me. I don't know. It's a kind of a chance to tell a story that hasn't been told yet. I don't know.
Sure.
I can't explain it.
I got to talk to you a little bit about going back a little bit further. You were at one time managed by Paul Stanley. How'd you hook up with the Kiss guys?
Well, you know, I was a young singer. I was doing my studies. I was, you know, learning stuff and everything, and working around. And I was living in a place, and we didn't have a laundry, so I had to go. There was a like a kind of a rich building around the corner, and I got to know the people in there, and they let me come in and do the laundry. And one day I was going in there and doing my laundry, and some woman asked me, she goes, "Are you a singer?" You know, and then back in the day, I had this like super long hair, and I kind of looked like I just walked off stage anyway, all the time. It was New York City, you know, in the 80s. And I said, yeah. And she goes, "Well, my son has a band and they're looking so much for a singer. Would you be interested in checking it out?" I was like, okay. And I don't know. She was just cool. And you know, I'm like trespassing in their building, so she could have had me thrown out anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, it turns out they were super cool. They were even younger than me. And they were young guys, and they had a couple of great songs. And the one guy's dad was gonna put them in the studio, and so I went into studio, made some demos with them, and the demos went to Paul Marshall. Paul Marshall is an attorney. He was like the Beatles' attorney, Whitney Houston's attorney, Kiss's attorney, whatever. He was a big lawyer in New York, and they sent, and he took the demo and gave it to Paul. And then I got a phone call from Paul. It was the wildest thing. I was like living in a house I was doing construction on, you know, like I was, somebody was doing a fixer upper, and I could stay in the house while I was fixing it up. So I'm like covered in like, you know, drywall dust. Right. And then there's no cell phones, right? There's no handies. There's nothing like that. So the phone rings. You got to go halfway across the house to pick up the phone. You know, and you're thinking like, you know, who's bothering me now, right?
Right.
I pick up the phone and I said, "Hello, who's this?" You know? And he goes, He goes, is this Eric St. Michaels? I said, yeah. What do you want? He's like, this is Paul Stanley. I said, like, yeah, sure. Right. Like,
Yeah, and I'm
he
Ace
goes,
Frehley.
yeah, he goes, no, man, it's, my name is Paul Stanley and it's really me. And I got your tape from Paul Marshall, my attorney. Right.
Mm.
And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, sorry, bro. You know, I'm like, whatever. And but he was like so super cool. He goes, yeah, you know, we're in Madison, Wisconsin. He was in Madison, Wisconsin. They were on tour.
Huh.
He got the tape. He was listening to it, and he wanted to know some things. He wanted to know, like, you know, he asked me questions like what the band was looking to do and this and the other thing, and you know, just standard questions.
Yeah.
And would I like to get together and meet with them guys and everything like that? And I was like, oh sure, man. Well, like thank you so much for, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
know, and it was just a real like, oh my, oh, you know, like you work your ass. I mean, at that age, I was about what, 24, 25.
Mm.
I might played in my first band when I was 12. So I was already like, you know, I'd already like covered a lot of ground. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're talking to the real Paul Stanley. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
And so what happened, make a long story short, he signed the band to a production deal. We worked for about a year and a half, 2 years, Paul producing it. He showcased the band. We ended up not getting a deal,
Mm.
sadly.
Yeah.
And the band ended up breaking up, sadly, because there was a few crazies in the band.
Mm.
And I remained friends with Paul, of course. I actually did some stuff with him after that. But what happened from there, it was extremely interesting because although nothing happened, just the fact that I was working with Paul and Paul was putting in a good word for me, you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
it carries a lot of weight, especially back in the 80s, you know,
Yeah.
because and he had a security team, and the guy on his security team who's passed away now, and I say his name with reverence, is Alan Reef.
Mm.
And Alan Reef became the tour manager for China.
Okay.
And when they needed a singer, he thought of me because he knew me from when Paul was working with me.
Right.
So I'm honestly sitting here in Switzerland now, all these years later, because Alan Reef remembered me that I was working with Paul, which,
Mm.
you know, for better or for worse, I don't know, you know, but it's been a long journey that started actually at that point. Interesting, you know.
It's amazing when you look back how things line up, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
when once you had time to sort of look back on it. Yeah.
Pivotal moments that you
Right.
can't really, you have to step back to notice them. If you could see them going forward, could you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That would be
Exactly.
so cool.
Yeah. The other story I read about you that I've got to ask about, uh, open mic night in a club in New York City, Nirvana, that you were working in, doing stuff in. Michael Bolton, David Coverdale, Joe Lynn Turner walk in and get into sort of a vocal duel.
Oh my God. You want to hear that one?
I'd love to.
Ah, okay. There was a guy named Shamshir Vardad. Okay, he was a super rich, super cool guy who owned the building where they dropped the ball at Times Square, and he had this restaurant up there called Nirvana. And his wife was big into music, and she was friends with a guitar player I was working with, a guy named Mike Pizzuto.
Mm.
And now Mike says, why don't we do a jam night? So we started a jam night. It was
Yeah.
me, him, about six other people. And in the beginning, it didn't turn into anything. And then all of a sudden, somehow it exploded. So Thursday night jam night at Nirvana became a thing to where like the industry started showing up and everybody wanted to get on stage. And it was cool. And so we became, me and my friend Randy, this girl singer, we were like standard background singers.
Yeah.
We would do backgrounds for whoever was, you know, we would do a couple of songs here and there, but generally there would be like all these guests and, you know, like a jam night, but it had to be done right. We always used to have a rehearsal as well during the day. But this time, we knew that Joe Lynn Turner was coming, right?
Yeah.
We knew he was coming, but we didn't know Bolton was coming. And Paul Stanley and Bolton were really good friends. So I think Paul brought him in. I can't remember that night.
Right.
But and then I'm coming in that night. I'm coming in that night, and there's an elevator, right? You know, talk about luck, right? I'm coming in the elevator, and I have this blonde bombshell, like total like knockout chick on my arm, friend of mine, right? Who's coming in with me. And we get in the elevator, and it's David Coverdale and his date. And he's dressed like a he's got this like gray, perfect suit on. He's wearing a tie, you know, a suit. I was like, oh my God. You know, me, when I'm around like really famous people, I get quiet. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and then he leans over to me, and you know what he said? He said to me, he goes, hey, like just kidding around though. He says, how much did you pay for that woman? And then he starts laughing. He goes, just kidding, you know?
Yeah.
And we rode up the elevator, and then we went inside, and then all of a sudden, then, you know, and Mike says, okay, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. I said, okay. And, you know, and I'm up on stage, and Joe Lynn Turner comes up, and all of a sudden, you know, Michael Bolton is coming up on stage, like, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody starts talking about Coverdale, and then Coverdale walks up on the stage, and they just decide to do this thing with the three of them all there together, right? So band starts playing like blues, and we have horns, everything, right?
Yeah.
And Joe Lynn starts, you know, it's Joe Lynn Turner, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Man's a monster.
Yeah.
He starts doing his thing, and it's sounding really, really great, you know? And then he does like, you know, a couple verses, a couple choruses, and everybody's like, wow, you know? And he pulls back, and then Bolton comes in and does his thing where, you know, it kind of looks like he's, you know, he's kind of in pain a little bit.
Yeah.
And he does this thing with the high voice and the thing, and it's all good, you know. And Coverdale the whole time is kind of like, you know, going down to a table, grabbing a drink from some woman, and you know, and so now he says, okay, I guess it's time for me now. And instead of singing, he starts talking to everybody like he's doing like a Frank Sinatra Las Vegas show, and starts telling jokes. And he starts telling, like, you know, I can't remember specifically all that what he was saying, but he starts telling like inside jokes about, like, you know, like kind of like roasting Joe Lynn Turner.
Oh, wow.
And then he starts roasting Michael Bolton. Right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, but really being funny, like not just, you know, in everything in good taste, but really, really cool. And I'm thinking, what is this? And meanwhile, I'm up on stage, you know, we're going, woo, woo, you know, whatever. Right? I'm waiting for him to start doing something. And then he goes further into the story, but in a sing-songy kind of low voice way, right? Very beautiful sounding. And we're thinking, is this what this guy's going to do? Right? And then he just says, just kidding. And then he just went wham into something that was like, I don't know, master level Coverdale back in the day, you know. He jumped from one extreme to the next, and the whole room was just set back. I'll never forget that. And we just had to hold down like just a blues, 12-bar blues, you know, and he was doing the rest. And I thought to myself, you know, here everybody was taking this other stuff so seriously. And this guy didn't take it seriously, but in the end, it was the most entertaining.
Yeah. Wow. You know? Amazing.
I know, but that was great. And I'm sure I had fun the rest of the night. Can't remember it.
Oh, yeah.
That's my story, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Exactly. If you don't remember it, you probably weren't there, you know. So just to bring us back, I could sit here and talk to you about this all night, but just to bring us back to the present now with King Zebra, album comes out on September 17th, Survivors. Going forward, what do you guys got happening? Have you gotten a chance to line up any other tours? I see you're doing the Swiss Rock Cruise on October 8th. You got to be looking forward to that.
Yeah, we got that. We got a couple more shows. There's a couple bands that we're gonna try to get out as much as we can before the winter, and then next year should be really good for us. Fortunately, you know, the album is coming out. We have you know, a lot of work to do to promote that.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna. You hope,
Right.
you hope, you dream, but I really think we're gonna make a lot of friends with this album.
Yeah. Definitely.
And
Definitely.
that's the dream. And then the hopefully we can get back out on the road, because we've done a couple of like nice little tours, and it gave us a feeling of what it would be like if we could, then came the lockdown, right? I mean,
Mm,
we did like, a couple of small tours through Eastern Europe. And then we did, the shows here in Switzerland. Then we started doing some of the open airs, getting to play with the bigger bands,
yeah.
and that started really going well. We started getting the muscle, a
Yeah.
band, you know, it's like, getting your road chops. It's like muscle building kind of.
Hmm.
And so we just started getting it, and then all the shit shut down, and we were like,
Right.
but we needed to make the record, so we just said, okay, we'll focus on the album. We'll put everything we got into making this record uh, as meaningful as we can,
Sure. Yeah.
musically, and you know.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear the rest of it. Going to be some good stuff right there. Chatting with Eric St.Micheals here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall, King Zebra. Check out their latest single, Hot Cop Lady. And the album Survivors comes out September 17th. Eric, I always like to end with some silly questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never been asked before. Sound good?
Go for it, Lance.
All right. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like Rosebud, but my sled.
Okay. Very cool. Getting late over in your part of the world, you're getting hungry. What do you grab for a midnight snack?
Bowl of cereal.
Okay. If you could pick a television show to have a King Zebra song placed in, what show would you pick?
Oh, really? I can't, retrospective or one to be made.
Your choice.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. If they made a
Yeah.
new one of those,
Okay. Yeah.
I would like him to pull out our MC tape and put that in and have a.
There you go. First car you bought with your own money.
Oh, it was a '68 Dodge Charger 383.
Nice. 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 My first was a 72 Dodge Charger with a 383 in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
383.
Yeah. 383.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Favorite old
Interceptor?
school wrestler.
What?
Favorite old school wrestler.
Oh man, you know, um, hmm, what was his name? Andre the Giant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you
Classic.
remember when did you ever see him in the movie?
Princess Diary.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
him. I always loved.
Yeah. Very cool. If you could go back in time and eat one of your mom's home cooked meals from your youth, what would you have her fix?
Oh, cheesecake. Oh, that's not a meal. Wait.
Well,
Oh.
still, that's
We can make a
dessert.
meal we can make a meal out of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Add,
Exactly.
add fruit.
Yeah.
No, they used to do this like how do you say roasted, like a roasted turkey for Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
stuffing and all that kind of stuff. I haven't been near anything so good,
Mm.
that if, one more Thanksgiving dinner, if I could ever have that would have been,
Yeah. Very cool.
that would have been thankful.
There you go. Favorite cartoon character.
Bugs Bunny.
All right. Last one. This is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
At what age, though?
If you want to have a couple, you can do that. However you want to do it.
Everybody always, when I had my hair shorter and I was out playing, everybody called me this. Everybody said I looked like George Clooney.
Yeah, I could see
So
that.
He could play me. He could play me in the later years,
Right.
and then in the younger years, we could go get Depp to do that.
Okay. All right. Very
Get
cool.
Johnny D on the case.
Yeah. Excellent. Eric, is there any questions I didn't ask you? Anything you didn't get to talk about that you were hoping to? The floor is yours.
Oh, well, first of all, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our music and to just, to discuss it.
Yes, there you go.
And I also, mentioning the stuff about the band, it's for us, of course, a dream to get over to the States. I mean, I'm an American, I'm born in the States. I haven't played there in years, and to bring Zebra over there is kind of like our dream. So if I could say anything to everybody, it's like, I hope we get over there to do some shows and get to interact with everybody.
Yeah. If you could hook up with
That's
somebody for like a dream tour of the States, who would you pick?
We will. Yeah, it's more it's more about all the sort of restrictions and things.
Right, right.
It's like,
What?
and it's with, and we have to follow a bigger band. So the bigger bands have it even tougher, because let's just say you're doing an international tour, right?
Yeah,
You have these restrictions in this country, and then what happens? You have to get to the next country on time,
yeah,
but yet they have different restrictions. Things can go wrong. These people have really, my hat goes up to these logistics people who do these bigger tours.
yeah. If you could hook up with a bigger band to go out, who would you like to tour with? Your dream tour.
Oh, well, I would personally love to tour with Aerosmith,
Mm,
but I don't know what they're going to be doing.
yeah,
If any like, if like on a small, like, not maybe, not mega bands, but
yeah,
like, I would like to go play with like some of the bands, like on the label that we're on has
sure.
some great bands right there, like Rose Tattoo, those guys.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Killer stuff.
Man, we got to open up for them at the Rock of Ages festival, and man, I would love, for me, they don't have to be super big bands, but just like bands like that, or like Airborne, bands like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Those
just like
guys are
being a part of that
fantastic.
vibe. Like, I'm not, I'm kind of, I don't have to be like I'm not trying to kill the world over here, but I just love showing people a good time and using that music the way it should be used.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
those bands incorporate that,
Right.
using the music the way it should be used for the right purpose. Music with a purpose. Everybody has a good time.
And that's the thing, you and I were there for the 80s, and the one word I used to describe the 80s the most is fun. We
Oh,
had
yes.
fun,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And no cell phones.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Eric, it's been a blast. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. Good luck
No,
with
thank
everything
you,
King
man.
Zebra going forward.
All right, bro. And I wish you all the best. And thanks again for checking us out.
Absolutely. Take care, man. Have a good evening.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.